Good morning, and thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Real Talks with Doc. And if you haven't already, please turn on those post notifications. And if you're finding this information is adding any value to your journey in this development and real estate space, please like and subscribe below.
Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Kay.
All right, so what's new? What's some updates you have?
We have finally turned over this beautiful contemporary new build home to our clients, Ebony and Eric, and it turned out to be an amazing home. They're going to create many, many years of memories there with their first son and then many kids to come. And most importantly, it was just the most gratifying fulfillment to see the look and the expression on their face when they actually moved into their house. So that is the most joyful news that just fills my heart this morning, Kay. So we'll keep it there and let's just give them all that positive energy sent their way as they enjoy their new beautiful home.
Awesome.
Oh, we got a video. We got an in-home video coming up with them, right? Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Be on the lookout for that. You all really want to see the amazing tile work in this home and the finishes that this home has. I mean, it is really modern, new day era, top quality stuff. So be on the lookout for that because Kay and I are going to be doing a post new build construction delivery interview with these clients, and he's frat. So shout out to the greatest fraternity in the world, Alpha Phi Alpha Incorporated. Love you, bro. Eric, really proud of you and your wife, man. First home or forever home. Hey, that's a good one. Okay.
All right, what are the biggest differences in mindset or strategy between first-time home buyers and those moving up to their second or third property?
So the first time or forever home is a person who never owned a home before. I just want to understand the catch on the phrase, right? The play on the phrase. Well, the beautiful thing about a first-time home is that it's a starter home. And you want your first-time home, you can buy a house as early as the age of 15, believe it or not. And you can fully own a home in your name with no issues in many states at the age of 18. So you want your first-time home to be your fastest home that you can get your hands on and to start to make and build your real estate portfolio because there is value in home ownership. You hear a lot of, people out there saying, never buy a home, never rent a home. And you listen to their logic and it really doesn't make sense. So I don't pay a lot of times listening to it. Hashtag Steve Harvey show. Very rare. I'm in the company van the other day because I caught a flat tire on my truck, literally pulling out of the parking lot. And I get 3 blocks up and I see the right front side of my truck go down. I hear something say, woo. I say, God, Doug, I got a flat tire. So I'm actually driving the company van. Now, I say that to say this. I ended up listening to the Steve Harvey show. No disrespect to the Steve Harvey show. I just rarely listen to the radio. I'm always podcasting or listening to an audiobook, right? But anyway, Steve Harvey show just happened to be on. And one thing Steve Harvey talked about is just making sure you're in the presence of positive people to have positive things happen that's gonna pour positivity into your life. So just be mindful of the content that you listen to and people just wanting to grab your attention with foolishness. So, I cannot think of any other reason why someone would not want to own their home when that builds equity, when that builds wealth, when that builds stability in terms of you controlling if somebody's going to renew your lease or not. You are the landlord. So I just find so many, there's some, things that come along with home ownership that you don't have to deal with as a renter, but home ownership far outweigh more of those pros and cons, being a homeowner versus a renter. So getting into your first time home, number one, you want to make sure that it's affordable. A lot of times we far too often see people get into a house and they become a phrase that we call house poor. And you don't want to be in that situation because you want to live a comfortable life. You want to have at least, it used to be 6 months of savings. You now want to have a year of savings in this economic environment. However, if you cannot have a year of savings, at least strive to have 6 months of savings set aside in reserve in the event anything happens. A lot of our government employees who are a big part of our client base never thought in a million years that they'll see their jobs just terminated the way that they've been terminated under this administration. I'm going to leave that there. So you want to make sure that you go into a house financially sound, and you want to go into your first time home, making sure that you have an end game with it. Now, your end game could be an owner-occupied home when you're buying an apartment building, which was my first home in 2000, fresh out of college. I bought an owner-occupied apartment building, 6 units, lived in one of the units, got into it for like 3%. There was some government program at the time. They had homestead tax abatement. It was just a perfect situation because I was looking to purchase my first time home. Now, my favorite home, my first time home, and everything makes sense. I think I probably came to the table on a $300,000 building with less than $2,000, whatever the program, lending program, government program they had at the time, first time home buyer. So look for those opportunities. Call your lender today. Have them look at your credit, and have them look at your financials, and have them look at your debt to income ratio, so that you can have an idea of what you can afford and start to get that information. So you'll be ready for opportunity, because the universe will present you with opportunities. Somebody, grandmama might be selling their house and they don't want to put it in the market. They want to keep it to somebody, friends and family, and they want you to have it. And they want you to have it $100,000 below market value. Like, you will come into those situations as I pour this positivity into your universe so that positive things can happen for you in your quest of your first home. Because there are a lot of you all listening out there who've never purchased a home before. Take the time, just call a lender. If you need a reference or a resource, direct inbox me. We'll send you, great lenders that we work with who've been tested and proven to be great lenders to work with our clients and give the elite services that we expect. Start the process now by simply talking to a lender and just ask them, what is my buying power if I wanted to buy a house? There's your magic question to a lender. What is my buying power if I wanted to buy a house? And they'll tell you what your buying power is based on your income, based on your debt to income ratio. And they will say, okay, your buying power is $500,000. Well, you got $500,000 to buy a house. But the next question you want to be is, what is that going to cost me every single month? Because once you know that number, you then have to realistically look at that number. You then have to realistically look at your lifestyle, because some people love to travel. Some people love to shop. Some people love to do a lot of things that cost money. And if you're spending money over here and you now have this mortgage over here, you got to make sure the two make sense, because you can't overspend here and then you short over here and now your mortgage goes into foreclosure. You don't want to have that happen. And I'm talking to newbies who, don't think about these things. Big expense that people don't think about that can impact their buying power is a car. Cars are very expensive these days. I have some clients with $4,000 car notes a month. That's crazy. That's almost equivalent to about a $600,000 house in terms of a mortgage. So you just want to be very mindful of the debt that you're carrying as you compare that to making sure that whatever you have left, remember, you want to have that 6-month reserve that you can put a little something to the side to build that 6-month reserve in the event that something happens. So there it is for your first-time home buyers. I hope that information is useful. Really think about what we just presented to you, because it will make a world of difference.
So for move-up buyers, is it better to sell first or buy first in today's market, and why?
So every market is different geographically. So that question is going to have some nuances to it and some variations that will impact, how we advise our clients. Well, first and foremost, I'm a firm believer that you don't sell your real estate if you don't have to. My wife and I, we own over about 44 doors right now. And when I say 44 doors, whether it's a 30-unit apartment building in which we own half the building with a partner, or whether it's a complex of duplexes that we own, 44 doors mean 44 individual units that we actually own. And if we don't have to sell real estate, my rule of thumb is don't sell it. The dollar depreciates every single year. So think about it. I'm looking at this townhouse home across the street right now under the window. That townhome probably in 1980 probably sold for, let's say, $300,000. I don't know why this $300,000 keep coming up, right? But it probably sold for $300,000 in 1980. Same $300,000, but you fast forward to 1990. Now it probably goes up to $500,000. Well, if I took $300,000 in 1980 and that same $300,000 is needed to purchase the same house in 1990, I'm going to be $200,000 short. You get what I'm saying with that? So I paid $300,000 here, but now the same house 10 years later is costing me an extra $200,000. Why is that? It's the same house. Well, things appreciate. The value of the dollar has a different economic weight in terms of its spending power. And then now you fast forward to 2025, and I look at the same townhome. I mean, I literally can Google this townhome, and it's probably selling for well over $1.5 million right here in this what do you call this part? Stanton Park area, Capitol Hill that we're on. Right, $1.5 million. So what happened to the dollar? How is it that the same property I could have bought 25 years ago, 30 years ago, was $300,000, and 30 years later, it's $1.5 million, right? So you can see where the value depreciated of the dollar. Now, what if I had the same bar gold here, and this bar gold has the same value as a $1, or let's just say the bar gold is worth, $10,000. Well, that bar gold has a different appreciation and not depreciation of dollar, because in 1990, that same bar gold with however many ounces would have given you $10,000 in 1980, that same bar gold has now doubled. It's worth $20,000. But that dollar on that 300,000, you can see it depreciated. So understanding that how you look at your investments in terms of whether or not you want to hold your current home as you upgrade to a new home, or if you want to sell it. Just understand that that dollar depreciates significantly over, a given period of time. So I would say hold it if you can. And hold it to the point where you know that when you rent it, you run a cap rate on it to make sure that your rental income and what you actually net on that over time meets your market minimum cap rate. And we have videos of getting the cap rate and debt, service, coverage ratios, start understanding all of those financial terms in this real estate space. So check out those videos. But nevertheless, if you can rent it, or when you rent it, positivity, you want to make sure that you have cash flow. And in having cash flow, that cash flow becomes profits that you can set aside and accumulate wealth and build that into some kind of account so that you can take that same money and reinvest it in something else, maybe commodities. We have learned not to put 100% of our investments in real estate, but have commodities like platinum, rhodium, gold, silver, oil. All of those things are commodities. Don't mess with Bitcoin a lot. Don't really understand it, so I don't invest in it. Not knocking it. So you can start to now what we call diversify your investment portfolio. Stocks, bonds, all of those things help you start to diversify your investments. So if you can, well, not if you can, I know you can, figure out a way to hold your real estate as you purchase your upgraded property.
You always talk about kitchen upgrades and bathroom upgrades, but what are some specific upgrades that kitchens and bathrooms should have?
Well, yeah, we talked about kitchens and bathrooms upgrades, but believe it or not, man, something that's really booming right now, energy audits. People want to know how energy efficient their homes are, because you lose so much energy when your homes are really energy inefficient. So that's one of the upgrades that people don't think about, that people are really now starting to become very conscious and mindful of, because that's a big cost when your home has all these energy deficiencies that make your home very energy inefficient. Landscaping and hardscaping, believe it or not, is now becoming a bigger attraction for our older clients. And when I say older clients, I'm talking about clients who enjoy the outdoors. Not that our younger clients don't enjoy the outdoors, but mathematically speaking, we have a greater ratio of older clients that really enjoy the gardening, that really enjoy, having the beautiful manicured lawns and the beautiful flower beds with all of these different seasonal flowers in it. So they really look forward to having a well manicured landscape as they look at upgrading homes. When you start to move into the interior of the home, kitchens and bathrooms always rule the day. But men now want their man caves. Man caves are very big for the husband, for the significant other. So they want to make sure they have that basement with great ceiling height so they can have their man cave for the fellas to hang out with and everything. So as you look for those upgrades, the first thing I ask you is, what are the most important features to a home that you spend most of your time in? Because that's going to differ for everybody. So I got 3 points that we look at. The first is, how do you want your home to function with the flow and the space and the size and dimensions of the space in comparison to the rest of them? Those rooms in the home that you use the most, that you find your happy places in, you want your upgraded space to be that. And if you can build a customized home when you're upgrading a space, that's the beauty of building your home from the ground up, is that you can make that home flow with the way you and your family really utilize the space, unlike buying someone else's resale home. The second thing you got to ask yourself is, if price wasn't a problem, what would I spend the most money on in this home? And that's going to vary for everybody in a home. I got a client now who wants a big garage because he's a mechanic. So he wants to have a nice size garage. We can easily pull his cars in and he can work on his cars and actually have an engine rack lift. He was telling me the garage ceiling has to be so many so many feet to clear it in height. That's important to him. And he's willing to spend a pretty penny on that. So you want to ask yourself, if money wasn't a problem, what would you spend the most of your money on in this home? And the third and most final thing is, how can you get dual usage out of this home for the short term and the long term? And what do I mean by that? If this is not your forever home, how do you situate your home when you're still 100% happy with it because it serves your function, but also too, when you do go to sell that home or do go to rent that home because you're going to add it to your real estate portfolio, how do you get the best resale value out of it? Because sometimes people, they don't think about that. And then at the end of the cycle, they've outlived the use, they've outlived the desire to be in that home. They've made these crazy, thoughtless renovations or changes to their home where it costs a lot of money to redo that and make it make sense for the market that they're serving, whether it's the resale market or the rental market that they're now looking to attract renters in. So think about those three things as you're deciding how you're going to upsize, and that'll help give you clarity in terms of just making sure that that next purchase is a great purchase.
What is some words of wisdom you have for us?
Well, first of all, let me give you a call to action as I'm learning this marketing stuff. Thanks, Kay, for keeping me on point. Next Tuesday, what's that date, Kay? May
13th.
May 13th at 5:55 a.m.
Sorry, it's May 20th.
Come on, man. Kay, come on. Kay, see, she got me all jacked up this morning. May 20th, that gives you 2 weeks now to get prepared. 5:55 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Real Talks with Doc, having coffee. Salute to you early in advance. Meet me there. We want to get our viewership up to double every month. So last month we had like 14 views. First time we did it, we had like 2 people. One of them, my aunt. I love you dearly, Aunt, Dad. So we want to get 28 people on. We want to double it every single week. And I need your help to do that. So be there 5:55 a.m. Even if you just get on for 10 minutes, say, hey, get some of this good information that we're sharing. Be a part of this community that we're building, this virtual community that we create a space where we share information about real estate, we share information about development, we share information about new build construction. We share all this information just to add value to your life. So make sure you're there, May 20th, 5:55 a.m. I'm going to be there, you be there. So as we wrap up, words of wisdom. Kay, we're going to, I shouldn't say this online, but I can't say it online because it means I own it. I want you to look into the copyrights of this phrase that I'm about to tell everybody. To the producers go the perks. I want you to let that marinate for a minute. To the producers go the perks. And what do I mean by that? When you look at where you have produced most in your life, those seasons in your life are the times that you receive the greatest rewards and the greatest perks. Those people get up and they grind hard and they outgrind that next person to be the very best person that they can be. The universe and God will reward you with unlimited perks. But you have to do the work to be a producer and get the perks. And I didn't even mean for that to rhyme, but that came out so good. So I'm going to end it at K. Till next time, I'll see you at the next construction site.